Yes, and welcome back on the Touchline. And as promised, we have guests from the Esports Federation. And I'm glad and pleased to have Ronnie Lusigi, the Federation's president, Felix Odwor, who is, Peter Odwor, I beg your pardon, who is the referee, guys who oversee the game. And of course, the youngest player ever to win the E-League One Tour among women, inaugural edition. Brilliant. Bri Nekesa, karibuni sana. Ronnie, Brilliant, and Peter, right, on the Touchline. Ronnie, maybe we can just set this rolling by talking about the E-League One Tour. You know, I think, if I'm not so wrong, of the past editions that have been held, there've been a new winner. Always a new winner. What does it say about this particular championship and the game?
Yeah, this year we had a new winner after his Josh Agutu in the male edition. And we also added an exhibition for the ladies, which Brilliant here also emerged as the champion. But for the boys, it was good to see the new champion, because Eric Dimon, you'll recall, had won it for 2 consecutive editions. And there was really the question of, is there somebody else who can come and dethrone him? He was eliminated by Harun from Mombasa. And eventually Harun, Joash, who finished second last time, made it a step better. But also more impressively was just to see the numbers of Kenyans who turned up. You see this year having over 700 people register for the competition. And then having the grand finale in the center of the town for the first time at Charter Hall, Nairobi, courtesy of the sponsorship from Nairobi City County. Would really like to thank them through the Digital Innovation Office led by Waziri Mike Gumo and Chief Officer Sande Oyolo. And to see that we had the ambassador there, we had government there through Prime Cabinet Secretary, we had over 2,000 Kenyans coming to watch it, just shows you how big esports is. And just checking this morning, over 21,000 people watch this thing on YouTube, that grand final. So it really shows you that now, apart from FC Leopard and Shabana, people are watching eSport.
Oh, Gor Mahia. Why are you leaving out Gor Mahia?
I had forgotten.
Forget about the reigning champions, Kogalo. Brilliant. Wewe kushinda hii game at this particular level for the first time at 14, inamaanisha nini kwako?
It's really nasikia vizuri. Like sikuwa najua nitashinda. Nilikuwa nasikia wakina Starlight ndo wamezoea kushinda. Najua nilikuwa tense kidogo, lakini niling'ang'ana ndo nikafika ile level kushinda.
Kabla ufike stage ulitokea wapi?
Nilitoka home, nilikuwa na train.
You've been playing in a club level?
Club level.
Umekokisha peno wapi skill yako? How did you begin?
I was training past years. Nilikuwa na train, sasa ndo nikafika hii place ya E-League.
Yes, and maybe how was it when you battled the Kinabanis as well as Chantel?
Yeah, it was not easy. Ilikuwa hard, juu hao wamezoea kucheza kwa stage. Ilikuwa nasikia tu pressure, lakini niling'ang'ana.
So what cooled your nerves? Nini ilifanya nerves zako zikakuwa cool
vile nilianza kufunga mabao ndo nikaanza saa kutulia.
Yes, and Peter, you're the referee, right? Unajua kwa football normally tunaona majama fulani wako katikati wamesimama. Most of the traditional sports. So where does the esports referee stand?
Esports referees. Yes. Tuna stand hapo nyuma ya player. Kama ni projected, of course player 1 na player 2 wote wanaona kitu moja. So whatever nitaona hapo ndio imehappen huko. So judgment ta make too according to vile nimeiona.
And that means that ukiwa nyuma player you have to be vigilant, sio? How important is it?
Ukiwa nyuma player, what I can say ni for you to make a decision nini kitokea, in case of any glitch or something. Unajua in tournaments you normally have glitches. It's gonna happen in games. So for you to tackle that, lazima kuwe very keen.
Is there a glitch that can happen and maybe inaweza cause I would say wrongful awarding of a point?
Glitches ni mingi sana in terms in game. Ziko mingi sana. Yeah.
Yes, and Ronnie, you mentioned katika in your previous statement, talked about how the officials from the government are behind, or they were present, right? There was also the French ambassador. But let's talk about the government officials who are always in esports events. What's their interest?
I'd say right now esport is emerging as a very strong sport. We are also having esports players who are doing very well for the country. They're going up there, they're winning. We are having many more young people play esports. So when you see them there, it's them taking notice that they're still also trying to understand this thing. And you know, they say seeing is believing. And it's only when they come to these arenas they see that people can really turn up to watch. Like on the 28th we had only 12 people playing, but to see an arena of people full just coming to watch these 8 people, to see another 20,000 watching them on YouTube, it shows you there is a community there, there is an audience there. So you know, getting support from government is very stringent. We have giant federations. Your soccers, your rugby, your athletics. So you must build your profile. You must show that something is happening. That's why we make it a point every time to invite our authorities. But also because when you work with authorities, there are things you're able to get. I've mentioned here what Nairobi County did for us. When they sponsor you with a venue, they sponsor you with the equipment to play with. These are things that as a federation, you are now able to channel your resources towards maybe players or other things. So it's very important always to include the authorities in what we do, and that's what we are trying, and we hope that other counties will also follow suit to what Nairobi City County is doing. We are already speaking to the other 4 counties that have cities in them, that is Uasin Gishu, Mombasa, Nakuru and Kisumu, to see how we can start from there, because we target the urban areas as we go to the grassroots, and those urban areas can act like a pool for the other towns and centers that are around it. For example, if you're in Kisumu, you can have people from Kisii, from Migori, even from Chavakali, even from Kericho, they can access Kisumu. When you're in Mombasa, you can have people from Kilifi, Mtwapa, Kwale, Taita Taveta, accessing Mombasa as a regional point as we move our sports towards the grassroots.
And how is it for the federations? I mean, for the federations have you been able to maybe, like, there is the launch, you know, government has been talking about the launch of the hubs, you know, could not know how far has gone, but for esports, we know that we need these well-equipped whole sites. So you, during the E-League 1-2 announcing about, you had made a step by procuring monitors, and now you wanted support for other gadgets. Does the government has it ever come in such a way?
So far we haven't received sponsorship from the sports fund. We are not yet, but we believe
you've not met the requirements, because it's only one person traveling.
we've met the requirement, but as I've said, you should also really understand them, that the sport fund is also quite stretched. So you make your bid, and you also continue proving your worth. So I believe we are very close. I believe most of them are convinced. The decision makers are really convinced, and they can see the potential that is there. You know, right now we've become members of the National Olympic Committee of Kenya, which is also another credibility.
Are you voting?
Stamp. Not yet. We were told we will be admitted after the vote. We are agenda number 2. They said they don't want to I think together with futsal and a few 3 other federations, maybe
lacrosse as well, maybe?
Lacrosse, we will be admitted. We are agenda number 2. They said it could not be neat.
They don't want you to spoil the vote.
For new voters, they said it could have looked maybe as incumbents are looking for the votes. So we said it is okay for us. The most important thing is now as members of NOC, you see IOC as a solidarity fund. So it's something we are hoping to tap into. And the IOC also have announced that they are creating a separate funding model for the Olympic esports games, which will start in 2027. So we are hoping that will be a place that we will be able to tap into. IOC has wonderful programs like the IOC Young Leaders. I've seen a young lady from Kilifi table tennis having been selected, and that's because most of our population is young. Those are the places we're hoping to see also our officials, somebody like Peter or people running clubs. We are hoping to see them now have those opportunities by us being part of the IOC. So in terms of pulling in resources, yes, as you've said, government is important, but also it's important for us, the task is on us also to be creative and to be resourceful in terms of engaging the private sector. Already, you saw us last year launching a sponsorship with AOC, which you've mentioned. AOC have sponsored the federation with 40 gaming monitors. That was worth over 4 million shillings. And they are going to be placed at MKU. They already arrived there. So we are going to have a training center there at MKU. At least before we take players to international competitions, they can go there and sharpen the skills. When new players like Bria discovered, they can also go there to get high-level training. So we are working both towards public and private sector, just showing them that esports is a place they should really be.
Brilliant. Approach yako ya the whole tournament ilikuwaje? How did you prepare?
I prepared by training, nikatrain pia mentality yako. Unajua hapo si kwenda unasema tu nashinda. Juu unajua hapo kulikuwa na mafans. Sasa walikuwa wanakupatia hiyo moral.
Alafu hiyo ni mara ya kwanza uko hiyo stage.
Yeah.
So mentally what was going on in your mind?
Ilikuwa tu like nisisikize hao watu wenye wako nje, ni focus tu na game.
But ni hard kutowasikiza, sio?
Yeah.
And the coach, what role did he play in making sure that you will stay focused?
Alikuwa like anakuambia wewe acha kusikiza mafans, wewe cheza tu game, like usiogope, like wewe cheza tu. Yeah.
And maybe did you while you're going through vile utaperform, you know, kuna ile worry whether I'll get it or not, right? Were you afraid of losing?
Nah. Sikuwa afraid. Like nilikuwa tunajua unaona ukifunga mabao unajua unaenda kushinda. Sasa kaza game kwa kuna bao mingi.
What was the most toughest game?
Toughest game?
Yeah.
Na toughest game nilicheza, tuseme ilikuwa na Starlight, lakini vile ilianza. Vile game ilianza.
What made you now like win it finally?
Ndo nimesema nilianza kufunga mabao.
Ulianza kufunga mabao.
Yeah, score.
Yeah, and maybe now hii ushindi and winning ili Tour for the ladies for the first time kwa competition ya kwanza inamaanisha nini kwako? Like now where do you go from here?
Where do I go like now? It ina depend like kama venye hii league tunataka pia sisi ya ladies watuwekee pia sisi next year yetu pia kutoka nje, so like yeah.
Yeah, and now targets zako umesikia Ronnie akisema ni Olympic sport as well as Commonwealth, sio?
Yes.
And youth Commonwealth games a big thing. Kuna youth Olympics. I don't know if you will be qualifying for that, but talk about zile opportunities unaona e-sport.
Opportunities kwangu kwa e-sports naona ziko high juu vile nacheza sasa na train sana, na hizo Olympics ikikuja tutaendelea tu kucheza. Yeah.
Na labda ushindi wako katika ile Y254 Tour ulidedicate somebody cause ilikuwa ya kwanza and inamaanisha kila kitu.
Yeah.
To yourself.
Yeah.
Who is you? Who is Brie? A student?
Yeah, I'm a student.
Where? What do you study?
I study at Playpen Education Center. It's located in Tasia. Yeah.
And now, how do they like take you as an esports champion? Have you inspired others?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What's happening? Teachers love you more?
Yeah. They really congratulated me on that day, and I was really happy.
Yeah. Peter, for you, understanding the games of the rules of the game and the tournament, where do you draw the line?
Okay, we just follow the international tournaments, what they do. Yeah, and try to apply some of their rules. Yeah.
And now for you, I know fairly Ronnie doing all the best, that there is everything as far as Kugroi game it's concerned. So, but how do you like build capacity? How do you sharpen your skill, become the best in the region or in the country? How do you go about that?
we have a community. We normally have tournaments every week, and the community has chosen me to be their leader, and since I'm their leader, they'll have to follow my rules. So whatever I say, they have to follow. Yeah, and that has really help us grow as a community.
Na labda kucheza game, you played it, for you to understand it.
Yeah.
Why did you only move on quickly?
Kuna mayangings baya. Yeah, I think age yangu ilifika mahali akili naanza kufikiria rent, food.
You only saw the referee paying.
Kuna watoto huku. Yeye anajua kitoka yeye ameenda kucheza. Yeye anajua kirudi home atakula. Yeah, so mimi nitashika pad nikienda kufunga niseme niko na arrears za rent. Akili imeenda.
Inapeleka mind kwingine, sio? Unaona ufanye na even though esports imekuwa high, unajua from now we are taking it from hizo mahalls na kitu ya social to something professional that people can earn a living from, sio? Now steps for refereeing, is it now like paying?
For referees, we are hoping it will start paying with the help of Mr. Ronnie Lusigi. Yeah, tuna hope for the best.
But it's also good to see transition.
Yeah, sure.
Because just as he's saying,
how do you build their capacity?
At
their
the moment,
courses, you expose them to.
So Global Esports Federation is starting. They are going to be rolling out a project for coaches, and we'll be using that opportunity to sign up our coaches and our referees for officials to build this capacity. But it's good to see transition because most of our players are young, but they also finish early. But you should also start early. For example, now Bree is 14 years old. It means by the time we hit Olympics in 2027, she will be 17, which is a very ripe age in esports.
Prime,
So our task between now and then is to have as many more people in the age category of brilliant who we can introduce to esports, so that by the time they hit 18 years, most of the international competitions, they require you to be above the age of 16. I think the same principle may be followed in the Olympic esports games. But the thing is, as 16-year-old in Malaysia or in USA or in Saudi Arabia has a lot of experience. So it is upon us to now, as a federation and an esports community, to give experience to our young players.
Yes.
There's a time we went to compete with Eric in Nigeria, and he was in a final with an 18-year-old Senegalese guy. And when that Senegalese showed us his passport, we really saw that we are behind because he's 18, but he had traveled to over 12 countries. So we'd like to have the same future for people like Bree, but by the time you are hitting your 17, you are 18, you already have exposure, you've already been to the international stage, and you're just ripe now for titles.
And maybe finally from you, Ronnie, you recently announced the federation working to empower local tournament organizers, right?
Yeah.
How important is this to have them on board, and how will this professionalize the game?
Yes, it's important because without the tournament organizers, people, the team like Floki and other people, you cannot have a talent pool of players. So as a federation, there's so much you can do, but there's still a very huge gap. So the importance of this is, we said, how can we start putting purpose and resources towards people doing the work in the grassroots? And that means right now, as I told you, we have got 40 monitors. It means giving them these monitors at a subsidized rate. They can use that resources in another area. We have got people like the French Embassy in Kenya who have got a lot of support program in terms of grants. So right now we went through the federation to pull together these tournament organizers and clubs to give them awareness on how to apply for these things so that they can be able to get these resources. So through this program, we believe that we will strengthen the grassroots tournaments, and it's through the grassroots tournaments that we will get players like Brilliant that we will be able now to elevate to the national level, because we can't be everywhere at the same time.
Yes. And for Brilliant and Jojo, I know Jojo is going for the E-League One tour. Will he be playing?
So the E-League One tour this year is meaning to be a tour. So he will be touring the city of Paris.
You'll
He'll
be
also
going
be
to see
watching
Champs-Élysées.
Champs-Élysées, Arc de Triomphe, the
Of course, the
Eiffel
world
Tower.
famous, the Eiffel Tower.
But he'll also watch PSG versus Auxerre. It's the last match of the season. PSG will be lifting the title.
They've
So
been
he'll
crowned
have,
champions already, of course.
yeah, so he'll have a chance to attend that ceremony and a VIP treatment. Last time they were given opportunity to go to the changing rooms. So maybe you'll have his trophy with the likes of Marquinhos and Vitinha and Dembele. He'll enjoy those moments. Yes.
Nice one. Brilliant. For you, what's your target now? Where do you go to? It's finishing school
Yeah, finishing.
and winning more titles. What are you targeting?
Yeah, when I finish school, like I'll still continue playing and win these titles.
Yeah. Who's your hero? Who do you look up to?
I look up to many people. I look up to Jojo, Damon, Marlon, and Fox. Yeah.
All the best. And in school, you also talked about how the young ones are following you, right?
Yeah.
Peter, for refereeing, what should happen for you to be, top of your game and level?
For me,
Yes.
the federation should pull up their socks.
Direct challenge to Ronnie, who is here. Thank you so much, Peter,
Yeah.
Brilliant, and Ronnie for making your time to appear on the touchline. We'll be back with more. Don't go too far.